I think we are live. Just waiting for confirmation. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. This is our third live, 3 days in a row. Wow, we made it to the end of this week. I don't think I'll be able to live stream this weekend. But we'll be back on Monday. So today is going to be a bit different. I'm going to lead with a topic, and we are going to do some color grading. I was thinking we could color grade some Sony A7S3 S-Log3 4K 10-bit 422 footage. That's a mouthful. Obviously, because of the format, this is a live. I'm open to any questions you guys may have regarding filmmaking, editing, the other YouTube videos. You may have questions for. Pretty much open to anything, really taking advantage of the live format. As well, let me know if the audio and video is working great. I think we are making improvements because today I've got a capture card coming from the Sony to my computer, and I've got a good mic. So yeah, let me know if it's better, if you can hear me well, if you can see me well. It looks pretty good on my hand. So yeah, hi team, welcome to the live stream. I'm just going to, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to open the window. It's very hot here. All right, let's do it. Let's get started. We are going to jump in Final Cut. I'm going to actually reopen Final Cut because I disconnected my hard drive. So let's start again. Here we go. I'm going to share with you my Final Cut in a second. Making sure everything is open. Share entire screen. Boom. Sorry about the infinity stream. Hopefully that works. So let's clear up a bit that view. And I'm just going to make sure everything is all right. So yeah, we've got a few clips. All shot on the A7S3. So you can see like, the way I name my footage directly in the camera, you've got the option. You can set that in the settings. You can like preset a name format. So mine is named A7S3, so I know which camera it is. And then it's a number set to continuous. So they're all unique. And hopefully the camera won't reset, so it's going to keep incrementing. If the camera does reset, I'll have to find a new name so that my new files and my old files are not mixed up. So yeah, all shot on the A7S3, all shot in 4K 120, actually. Except that clip. That clip is in 4K 24. And I've created proxies in Final Cut. The way to create proxies is you select your clips, right-click on it, or you can click on your event as well, transcode media, and here I've got, obviously I can't create a proxy again, but this is a proxy because even on my 16-inch MacBook Pro 2019 that's fully spec'd, I can't play back the footage without proxies, not as quickly as I'm doing it right now. Which picture profile? So it's S-Log3. Everything was shot S-Log3. I'm sorry for the noise, guys.
I'm sorry.
Emma is moving houses in the background. So yeah, so a bunch of different clips, a bit of those 3 here were shot with the Nauticam, so the camera was in the underwater housing. and that was handheld, and those shots were, yeah, all handheld as well, with different lighting conditions, different background to make it interesting. I can as well go and look for other clips if you guys are interested. But yeah, you've got different ways of color grading that. Obviously, this is log here, so it's a bit unsaturated. And I know when I started, and I'm sure a lot of people are still doing this, they basically go into their color board, crank up the saturation, and let's pull some waveforms here. And if we go in the exposure and like stretch the footage like this and make sure, yeah, it looks somehow not too bad. And yeah, and think that's how you color grade log footage from any camera. And I did that for a while, and I know a lot of people are still doing this. It works on any clip. You can do it here. You drag the shadows down, drag the highlights, basically trying to stretch your waveform from 100 to 0, 0 being obviously a pure black, and 100 being pure white, pure brightness. And here the same, you could increase saturation. So that's one way. And yeah, you could argue that it works, but it's not at all how it's supposed to be. And yeah, like it took me a while. I was editing on S-Log2 with the A7R3 for a while. And just checking here. It's not at all how it's supposed to be. Okay, the audio sounds good. And S-Log2 is not as bad, but yeah, I would do that, and I wouldn't know that I was pretty much missing out on the full potential of the codec, whether it's S-Log2 and now S-Log3. But there are much better ways. And so we're going to delete what we just did, delete the adjustments, and feel free to ask any questions. Oh, if you guys can't comment, it means you are not subscribed. So you need to be subscribed to the channel to be able to leave comments and ask questions. So please do that if you have questions. Leave a thumb up if you enjoy the content. Share the content with other people that are using the Sony A7S3 or who could learn a bit about color grading. I'm not a colorist, I'm not a professional colorist, but I've got a few years of experience behind me, and I know how to make some, like, I can make some footage looks not too bad, I think. So if you guys like my footage, I'm going to show you exactly what I do and my process. So let's do it the right way. And basically you could, with those cameras, if you're exposing pretty well in camera while you film. So that question came back quite a lot. How do you expose S-Log3? And at the moment, what I'm doing is when I'm shooting like this outside handheld, my rule of thumb is to be at around +1 to +2, trying not to clip the highlights. And the highlights are clipping at 95, 94 IRE for S-Log3. So I'm just trying to play with that, trying to expose to the right without clipping my highlights. Obviously, with the experience now, I can know how it looks, and especially with the S-Log assist directly on the screen on the monitor, if I'm using the internal monitor of the Sony, it gives you a very good idea. So if you are shooting S-Log and you are not used to it too much, make sure you turn on S-Log assist, which is going to convert to Rec 709 via the Sony LUT in camera. So you'll be able to see how it looks, and you won't have to worry, oh, am I overexposed or not? Just make sure it looks good on the screen if you're just getting started. And usually that works pretty well. Otherwise, yeah, you'll see you'll end up always overexposing by +1 by 1 stop, 1.7, depending of the conditions. Obviously, if you're filming in the sun like this, the mirror is going to read +2 and it's going to blink. So you're probably overexposed at +2.5, +3. Whereas like if you're like this, you're probably more around the +1 because most of the scene is dark. So that's something to keep in mind. But the first thing I do, and you can do that on all the clips of your timeline. So what I do is I come back home with all my clips, I drag them into the timeline. And you can in Final Cut go into, click on the info tab here and make sure you're in general at least, not basic. And here you've got camera alert. You can apply a camera alert and you can do that directly from the library as well here on the left side. So you can as well change it here, but here you can add a camera alert. And Sony provides you on the website online some S-Log3 to Rec 709 conversion LUTs. As you can see, they are here. I've got them. I've got the same for S-Log. And here I've got two for S-Log3, one for the Gamma 3 and one for the Gamma 3 Cine. So it depends how you set up your color profile in Final Cut. In the camera. And use the right color space, the one that's matching. So let's go ahead, and I'm pretty sure mine is Gamma 3 Cine, so we're going to apply it. And without having to do anything, this is what we come up with. And you can argue it looks pretty good. I can play back some, even that underwater shots. Like we came from something that was very unsaturated to with something that was logged to something that works pretty well. You could be happy with that. And if you don't, if you're vlogging, if you don't need any creative color grading, you're pretty much done here, you could say. However, you can see some of my clips here are overexposed, and let's stop on this one. You can see on my meter here. If I'm above 100, it means I'm going to clip. Most normal screens won't be able to, as soon as you transfer it to YouTube, they won't be able to see the information that's above 100, so it's going to clip everything at 100. And that would be the same with below 0. And here you can see in most clips, not this one looks very good, but most I'm going above. So that's one thing. And that one I'm not going above. So the banding you can see here is going to be due to the proxy file and as well the compression. The compression of the YouTube upload. So it's not going to look perfectly clean, but that's why I'm putting a waveform on the left side for you guys. So I just want to see if you're connected and you just joined. We are doing some A7S3 log color grading in Final Cut. Thanks for joining. Leave a thumb up if you enjoy the content. That helps push as well the video to other people that could be interested. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Even if you don't have any question, just come and say hello in the chat. That would be amazing, because otherwise I feel like I'm talking to a computer or to just a camera. So please do, like Timothy, come say hello. I know there are a few people right now, so show yourself. Just a little hello, and that's all. Hey, Kelly. Thanks, buddy. If you have no questions, it means I'm doing my job as well, I hope. All right, let's go back in Final Cut. So as we said here, that kind of works. The colors look good, but clearly there is some work to be done. That's hey, Karin, what's up, buddy? Enjoying the lockdown in Brisbane? Are you in Brisbane now? Don't know, I can't keep track. Hey Josh, hey DVS, hey Emma. Right, you guys are responding, that's good, you're alive. I'm not alone, I feel much better. All right, so we just applied the Sony LUT here on the camera LUT, just in the info tab. So that works, but you could argue that there is some work to be done. So we are going to take, I would say one that requires quite a lot of work is that, yeah, I know, it's terrible, lockdown. lockdown. Queenstown is in lockdown, hopefully until Sunday, and then we are free again. We've been very lucky so far, so I'm just complaining that we're in lockdown, but we've been very lucky in Australia not to have, especially in that part, not to have too many lockdowns so far. But at this pace, like it looks like we are going to be a lot more in lockdown over the next few weeks, which really is not good, pretty bad for the business. Anyway, on a more positive note, we have some work to do on this kangaroo shot. And what you could do is go directly into the tabs here and just try to adjust your exposure. Obviously, we want to try to save those highlights. And I didn't overexpose. That's why, like, when you guys ask me, do you overexpose? One thing I know is I didn't clip those highlights, and you've got enough dynamic range. I'm not too sure how many stops. I think that's 14 on the A7S3. You've got a very big dynamic range on this camera. It's not a red for sure, but so you could do that and try to decrease your highlights. You could do that with curves. I like to use the color board because it's super easy. You've got the 3 tools here. That one controls the shadows only, so make sure you're on your exposure board, the midtones, and the highlights here. Same, you could control the saturation, and same deal here. That one controls the shadows. So fairly straightforward, and same with the colors. You've got the global master. That one controls the whole tint of the picture. Double click, it comes back to the center, and shadows, midtones, and highlights. But see what's happening here. You could say, okay, I'm going to preserve my highlights, and you're going to bring it just under 100. I'm going to reset the whole setting because I think I changed. No, it's all good. So bring that one down to under 100. But as you can see on my picture, and I'm sure you can see that on YouTube, YouTube actually is very interesting. We won't display anything brighter. On my screen I can see brighter, but probably on YouTube you won't be able to see the difference. But still, at this stage, I don't have any details in the highlights. And I could try to take down a bit the shadows, but yeah, I'm saving a bit of details in the shadows. And I see that a lot on YouTube videos or videos of my friends using the A7S3. I'm like, how did you manage to clip that? Because the dynamic range and the S-Log3 is really good. And you shouldn't clip. And here we shouldn't clip at all. And what's happening is, and I only learned that like a year ago, I would say, is that when you apply the camera LUT, no matter what LUT you're using, like ideally you want to use the Sony LUT or a proper Sony S-Log3 to Rec 709, which is the color space for YouTube. This LUT is applied, if you imagine you've got your clip, this LUT is applied right after the clip, and then any modifications you do, so like the color board, and that's the most important part. Like if you understand this, and feel free to ask me questions, but if you understand this, your color grading is going to be that much better. And if you already know, that's amazing, let me know. Like that's something I couldn't find any information on YouTube. I'm thinking, like I found one person talking about that. I think that was Gerald Undone. He talked about that, but very briefly. And he's not even editing on Final Cut, so I couldn't find information for Final Cut except I think on one forum, but it was pretty hard to find. But basically, you imagine you have your clip, you convert it to Rec 709, and then I'm making those adjustments here with the color board on top, which means I'm making adjustments on a clip that's already converted into a smaller color space. Rec 709 is much smaller, is restrictive compared to the S-Log footage. Which means I'm actually wasting the fact that I shot everything on S-Log. I could have shot in Cine 4 if you use Cine 4, for example, on the older Sony. And that would be the same. I'm wasting the fact that I'm shooting in 4K, 10-bit, 422 in S-Log3. I'm wasting the fact that I'm shooting log. Because here I have no dynamic range, and it's supposed to be one of the best cameras in 2020, 2021. So the trick is, we're going to reset that. I'm going to cancel. And we are going to remove our LUT entirely. And I don't know if you can see it on YouTube. I don't know if you can see it on YouTube. But I'm just going to reapply. But here on my screen, I can see that the sky is not that clipped. It's not perfectly blue, but it's slightly. And the trick is, we are going to apply a LUT directly on the clip, so not using the camera LUT this time. So let's look for LUT, double click. Now I'm going so we're going to apply the same LUT, which we're going to apply this one. It's the one from Hdr Content. It's very similar, but the same concept. I don't have the Sony here. No, let's save time. I'm going to look for them. They're somewhere on my computer. Anyway, and now we are going to apply a color board. So I'm just going to do one change just to add it to my layers. But see now, my color board is below the custom LUT, which means I'm doing exactly the same thing right now. I've got the clip, applying the LUT, like you could do that in an adjustment layer. It's exactly the same. And on top of this, I'm putting my color board, which means I'm affecting everything that's under, which is the color, the LUT and the clip. What we want to do is change our color board and put it above, which now means any correction we are going to do in the color board is going to affect only the clip without any LUT. And it's going to affect the clip in log. And that's going to give us a lot more room. And first thing you can notice is we're not clipping anymore. So I'm going to see now the graph response, like the details. So I can really take it down, and we're going to adjust a bit the exposure on this one. But instead of having like a straight line and bringing everything, now it's much more through. And like you can start seeing some colors. I'm going to take another clip that's going to be more obvious. So here, yeah, let's take that one of the sun with Nelson. Now if I take this down, see how the top, like I still have this band that's clipped. Obviously it's the sun. I'm going to remove my LUT from here. And we are going to not do anything here and just apply my LUT here, the version 2 for example. And now before you can adjust your correction and see how I'm moving up and down the highlights, but see how more elastic the top part of the graph is, which means I'm not affecting linearly, if that's a word, the footage anymore, but I'm affecting the log footage, which means I'm actually retaining much more information. And like, I'm going to duplicate that clip like this. And what we are going to do is we are going to, on this one, we are going to do the opposite. Okay? Same exact adjustment. See, before, like that's what we were doing before with the custom LUT at the very end, so the right way to do it. And with exactly the same adjustments, now I'm going to show that clip again and see how more compressed my waveform is. So the good way, the bad way, especially in the top. And on the good way, see how much more, like the right way of doing it, see how much more details now I've got in the sky. So that's what you want to do. You want to make sure, like here, that your custom LUT, the one that converts to Rec 79, is at the end, except for one reason. And it's when you start doing, like if you've got a LUT already for your creative look, or if you are going to do like some really creative work on a creative look. And in that case, I'm just going to add another color board, or let's say curves here. In that case, you may want to have the curves after your LUT. Let's say you want to have the shadows kind of faded a bit. So let's do it here, like just creating like a style, random style. But that you could do it after the LUT, because you want to change the global look of the global vibe of the video. So that's one really important thing. How are you guys following so far? Let me know. Is my audio loud enough? Oh, do you have any questions? I want to learn color grading and I'm from India. How can I learn anyways, you know? can watch the live stream. We're going to do more like this, but that one is very specific to the S-Log3 Sony. It works for, and like it's specific to the S-Log3 because I'm going to talk more about my LUTs and what I do, but this is basic stuff. You have to, if you don't do this, no matter what LUT you're using, what camera you're using, if you are converting your log footage and after doing the changes, and we're talking color correction. It's not color grading yet, obviously, so color grading, the creative colors, that's something you apply after the LUT. But color correction, making sure your white balance is fine, like this one. So what I'm going to do is just reselect. And if you guys have any questions, please ask them now before I move on. So I'm going to remove all the LUT from all my footage. And let's take that shot of Nelson underwater. And I'm going to look for my LUT. That LUT is from Gerald and Don, it's free. It's not too bad. That's the one I used for a bit, and then I'm going to show you which. Cool, thanks for letting me know that the audio is great, thank you. So it looks pretty good. That's before and after. Like those colors look very natural, like we've got some very nice lens flare. It's very pleasing to the eye. And that one is not clipping too much. We can see, I'm just going to extend that a bit, but there is a flat here when the light rays. Yeah, I'm probably clipping around, just around here. It's pretty harsh conditions. So that's where like it's very hard to say how much do you overexpose and what to do in those conditions, because now I'm underwater. Do I need to overexpose when the sun is coming through the wave? I'm going to be blown out, but like I want my subject to be properly exposed. Here I want Nelson in the water to be properly exposed. That's the most important thing. So if we want to do any adjustments on this one, I need to create it, and as I said, we're going to swap. Make sure it's before. So you could adjust a bit the shadows, and yeah, like fine. And see, now we are nearly not clipping anywhere. So I have a question here asking like, can we use the same LUT for HDR content? And the answer is no. That LUT, the Sony LUT, the Sony 2 709, it's specific to the S-Log3. You can't use that LUT for HDR. HDR is a way. So if you're using a Sony camera, HDR would be, I would say you're using HLG profile, which they're not too bad. I used to use them on the Sony A7S3 like I did experiment a bit on them. The thing is I'm so used to S-Log2 and now S-Log3 that I kind of struggle with the HDR process on Final Cut, especially because you need to change your color space. Hold on, I'm just going to make sure we have no notification, do not disturb for 1 hour. But yes, you won't be able to use the same. In Final Cut, you will need to go for each clip to go into this menu, and you will need to change the color space. And I think that's in HDR, yeah, obviously. Not even. I don't know if it's going to show because I'm not using any HDR content right now. Oh yeah, here we go. Color space override. So that's how you work with HLG content on with the Sony A7, Sony Alpha, I would say. And you can overwrite. So for example, the iPhone is shooting HDR. So if you import iPhone footage into Final Cut, you will want to overwrite it with the Rec 2020, for example, and or depending on the profile. Rec 2020 usually works. It's an HDR color space. Obviously, you want to output in Rec 709 ideally. So yeah. Hope that answers your question so far. What do we have? Let's see. I'm going to create a new scene. Hold on, let's see. Let's see if I can share it in a more professional way. I don't think I can. It's weird. I'm still learning the basics of the live stream. No, it's not gonna work the way I want. No worries. Right, I'll take a few minutes to answer any questions for the next 2 or 5 minutes, and then we'll move on. I'll show you something else. If you guys want to comment and you can't, it means you are not subscribed. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you can then comment. If you enjoy the content, please leave a like. Share with anyone who would be interested in learning into like more about Final Cut and color grading and all these things. That could be camera. We can talk cameras if you guys want. We can talk. I was thinking about doing some Lightroom tutorials as well. I'm not a pro, but I can share some stuff. We can talk camera, Final Cut over Premiere. I know a lot of people like to talk and say why would I edit on Final Cut instead of Premiere? And I've got many reasons. I think I found a way to share just the Final Cut. I'm just going to. I know. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to add some audio. Give me a sec, guys. It's going to be much better. Here we are. I put myself at the bottom here. And we are going to turn off the webcam because we don't need it. And we need some good audio as well. Input. Alright. That should be much better. Here we go. What is HDR? HDR, high dynamic range. It's just a different format that allows you to see brighter highlights and darker shadows. So it's increasing your dynamic range. Some screens are HDR, some monitors, some cameras, the iPhone. So it's what gives that very, sometimes unrealistic look, if not done properly. Let me have a look. Who is connected? All right, let's move on. Next thing I wanted to share with you guys. Let's take that clip. So same deal, S3, and let's color grade it in a different way. We are going to use adjustment layers, so that those are from Color Finale, but you can find some others, like it's free, no need for a plugin or anything. But basically, I'll show you what I do. I'll add a custom LUT on my adjustment layer. I do work a lot with adjustment layers, but I do work on the clip as well for different, so that's the way I organize my grading. So I would do this, and here, I'm going to use some different LUTs. And those are called the Phantom LUTs. You can find them on Google. Let me show you. Share entire screen. So Joel Filmaro, if you go on his website, he's got a bunch of LUTs for Sony that are supposed to mimic the ARRI look, from what I understood. But what I really know is I really like those LUTs. And here, if you go here, you got the A7S3 LUTs. So it's got a standard pack and a film pack. And I actually got both. And I really like them. It's got a bunch, so I think 5 pair per kit, but yeah, you can have a few like examples here. But like that's next level stuff. And they do really look like this. So obviously like those are commercial shoots, so they were properly lit as well. That's something to know. But I really like the look of them. So yeah, let's go back in Final Cut, but I'll show you. So here, for example, let's add one of the Phantom LUTs, and let's add the neutral one, the standard one. It's supposed to be standard. So here we go. The shot is a bit dark, and you can see here on the waveform that it's more towards the bottom end. And we don't want that. We want to bring it like a bit brighter. So I'm just going to, before doing any adjustment, make sure my color board is before. And that's only color correction at this time. I'm not grading anything, but just making sure my clip looks good. So here, like those highlights here, they correspond to the chopper taking off. Everything that's a bit pink here, like that's my head. And that must be my hand, my arm here. The chopper and the blue sky is here. You can see stripes, obviously, if you are not in proxy. So let's say if I come back to the original media, you'll see that's going to look much more soft. See, now there is no bending at all, and even in the picture. I can't really edit like this, but that's to give you an idea. So do the color correction. Yeah, I'll put a link for you. Hold on. Hold on, how do I do that? Yes. That's the link. So that's the LUTs I'm using. And I've got the bundle with both the standard and the film look. I think they're worth it. I think they look great, and also, if you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram. I'm very active here, posting stories daily. We do some Q&As there as well. And if you have any questions, I'm going to keep editing, but if you have any questions, feel free to let them in the comment section. I'm reading the comments as I'm editing, and we're going to end that stream in 5 minutes, but I wanted to show you a few more things. So if you have any more questions, leave them down below. Make sure you subscribe, because you won't be able to leave comments otherwise. Let me know what you want to see next. Like, should we do a Final Cut 101? Some Lightroom? Anything. And leave a like. That's really helping pushing the channel to show it, to put it in front of other people that may be interested. It really helps me doing this content for free for you guys. Spending my lockdown day with you. And I love it. I actually love it. All right. So let's do some adjustments. We are going to bring the highlights a bit higher. The midtones. It's really like, there is no right or wrong, I'd say. My t-shirt obviously is going to be dark. You don't want to clip see how I'm clipping here? You don't want that. So is my t-shirt pure black? Could argue, yes it is. So I'm just going to leave it slightly above depending on the look I'm after. The other thing too, so I was talking to you guys about proxies. I would recommend to do the color grading, color correction, not in proxies, using the original footage, because the proxy is it's not the 4K 10-bit anymore. It's a very condensed file, and you're losing a lot of information. So I'm basically right now for the demo, but it's just for the purpose of that tutorial. Otherwise, it's going to be my computer would be too slow, like streaming at the same time. But you want to have the colors of the actual footage, the 4K 10-bit, not the proxy, because you'll see that if I switch back, there will be some differences. I can't really see the right colors, the shadows, the highlights. They will move slightly in between the proxy file, and the way to switch in between is to use that toggle here. One I really like to use is proxy preferred. It's really good if you've got files that are transferred as proxies, and sometimes you're editing some, and you're mixing up different projects and different files, and you don't have proxy for everything. So proxy preferred means you can have a timeline with half of the clips as proxy and the others that are not proxy, but not have that red screen saying like the proxy is missing. So Final Cut is still going to try to play back the original file, even though you don't have the proxy for all the clips, if that makes sense. So yeah, pretty cool. I just wanted to show you a bit the other LUTs, but within the standard one, like you've got obviously ice blue, much more blue, Jamaica, much more green. That's how I find it. Neutral that we had, tungsten, looks really good too. Utopia, it's a bit more teal. And if you go into the film ones, you can start with bleach. Bleach is very aggressive, so it's desaturating the skin tones quite a lot, and everything. So it's a very aggressive LUT. I haven't used it, I think, at all, except on some B-rolls for YouTube. Eastman is one I use quite a lot, pretty warm, very nice. Eterna, I used Eterna quite a bit. Vision, I think that's one of my favorites with Vision Teal. So that's 5 LUTs and 5 LUTs. That's all the 10 LUTs you get when you get the full bundle from Joel Famero, the Phantom LUTs. But yeah, it's giving you a very nice cinematic look. And you could say like this is finished. Pretty much that clip is ready if you like the colors. Now if you wanted to go a bit more creative, I think that's already very creative. And to do some adjustments. For example, that LUT, here you can see my shadows are much higher. See, that's before the LUT. Sorry. So that's before my adjustments, but depending on the LUT you're using, so let's say I'm using the standard one, the neutral, S3, sorry. Look where the shadows are, the base of the shadows is. And like, if I use my color board now and try to go lower, I can nearly touch the 0. Now if I apply the LUT I was using, so Vision Teal, that was, see how much higher now the shadows are. And like, no matter how much I'm going to drag those shadows, I can't go lower than that. And you could say, oh, I don't like this. I really like the colors. So it's clipping around here. You could say I really like the colors, but I want my shadows and my blacks to be very black. I want them to touch the 0. And the way to do that is this time we're going to create another color board. So here we are. And this time, if I go back into the arrangement, see that color board, I'm going to have it after the LUT. And let's say I want to have those 0 for the shadows. Here we go. See now, I've got them touching the 0. I kept the look. I actually changed the look, and that becomes the creative part of my color grading. So that becomes color correction. Color grading. Whereas before that was, I would say, that's how I see it. Everything that's before the LUT is color correction, and everything that's after is color grading. You create the look. And obviously that LUT is a creative LUT, so it's color grading. If that makes sense. But yeah, you could choose to have that. And that works exactly the same way with the highlights. Some LUTs are going to stop. The highest point will be below. And you'll see, I use that waveform pretty much all the time. That's my tool of choice. And if I need some skin tones as well, I can use my wheel, my vectors, or I would use eventually the RGB palette. So the overlay is a really good one to, if you've got a lot of white. I don't have any shots with a lot of white, but let's say if I want white walls, it's very easy to see how to make everything white. Obviously that one is not, but we could pick another. Don't really have any here, but you could use either the overlay or the palette. And basically, what's white? It's when all the colors are at the same level. So you could use that tool here and kind of try to align. So if you wanted your midtones, which is my ground here, to be in the perfect white balance range and not red, but the ground was red, so I'm not going to change it. But if you wanted it, if it was a white ground, you would align those. But yeah, I really like the wave, like the Luma. That's the one I'm using the most. And here in the view, you can move the slider up to just see it a bit better. And I think that's it. I'm going to give you one more chance for one or two more questions, and we're going to wrap this up. See on that clip, for example, that's how I would do actually. I wouldn't do any correction. I would just have my LUT on my adjustment layer. And because every clip is different and needs a different adjustment, I could have an adjustment layer for each clip. But what I prefer doing is going directly on the clip. Like I don't need to put an adjustment layer for that. And that one is a bit too green in my opinion. So I would bring down the master a bit lower. I'm pretty happy with the exposure. So that one already has a LUT applied on it, if I'm not mistaken. General. No, I removed it, but I think it's here. Yeah. Up. Here we go. Sorry. Just make sure. Way too green. It's my white balance in this one, but you could find a sweet spot. We see here, it's probably the shadows are a bit green, so. See, now I've got the midtones a bit too blue, so I can, like get, so that was with just the LUT. I think a bit too bright anyway, but like with some color grading, it's much more natural now. I was clipping a bit on this one. But yeah, that's it guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Looks much better with the capture card, even though we're not in 4K, it's 1080. I think that's good enough, and we've got good audio, which I'm very happy about. And we're going to wrap up. If you enjoyed this one, if you enjoyed the format, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see next. I think the next live is going to be next Monday, unless I can sneak some time in this weekend. I think it's raining on Sunday, so Sunday, Monday. Might be stuck inside again. Thank you so much for watching. Pardon?
We're in lockdown. We're stuck inside.
We're stuck inside anyway. We're in lockdown. Yeah. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Leave a like, leave a thumb up. Thank you so much. Follow me on Instagram. And that's it. I'll see you very soon. Tschüss.